Eileen Gu reflects on Milan Cortina Games, dream of growing visibility in her sport. Eileen Gu is on top of the world. With her achievements during the Milan Cortina Games, the 22-year-old professional athlete is now the most decorated freeskier in Olympic history. Gu, who competes on behalf of the People's Republic of China, secured gold in the women's halfpipe, as well as silver in the women's slopestyle and big air events in Italy last month. During her Winter Games debut in Beijing in 2022, the San Francisco native took home 2 golds in big air and halfpipe and 1 silver in slopestyle. Following the closing ceremony of the Olympics on February 22nd, Gu immediately made appearances at Milan Fashion Week, showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. However, earlier today, March 2nd, the professional athlete took to Instagram to reflect upon her achievements in the sport, both at the Winter Games and more broadly. Gu opened her caption by stating that she gave her first speech on women in sports and Title IX when she was 11 years old. She went on to share that she took the opportunity to speak out on being the only girl on her ski team, and from a young age, understood that there was a lack of representation in her sport. Gu then detailed why, at the age of 15, she made the decision to compete for China. She wrote, in part, that doing so meant the opportunity to uplift others through the universal culture of sport, and to introduce freeskiing to hundreds of millions of people who had never heard of it, especially with the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics around the corner. Later, the Stanford University student mused about how much has changed over the course of the last several years where visibility and inclusion in her sport is concerned. I can look back now, at 22, and tell 12-year-old Eileen that there are now terrain parks full of little girls who will never doubt their place in the sport. Gu wrote, I can tell 15-year-old me that there are now millions of girls who have started skiing since then, in China and worldwide. A lot of people won't understand or believe that I made a decision to create the greatest amount of positive impact on the world stage that I could, at this age, given my interests and passions. 3 golds and 6 medals later, I can confidently say, what was once a dream is now a reality. Accompanying her powerful message was several images of Gu from the Milan Cortina Games, starting with an incredible photo of the athlete airborne while performing a trick. At first glance I thought this was a picture of shooting star or satellite in the sky. Then I realized it was you and realized I was right. Dizzy keep shooting for the stars girl, we see you. One of Gu's 4.4 million followers commented. So proud of you, Eileen. What an incredible journey. Someone else wrote. You're a true inspiration to girls everywhere. Congrats on everything. Clapping hand sign sparkles. This is Eileen Gu's era. You are changing the world. Changing the rules, another stated. Let's say it again. You're the best and the bravest, person raising both hands in celebration. Eileen Gu's mind can hold 2 truths at once. One is intensely personal, the private, stubborn desire to keep getting better. Cleaner takeoffs, sharper grabs, more control in the air. More calm on the day it matters. The other is much bigger than any single athlete, the sense that every run, every interview, every decision about how to show up in public can widen the doorway for the next generation. As the Milan Cortina Winter Games come into view, Gu has been speaking less like someone chasing a highlight reel and more like someone building a long horizon, where sport, identity, pressure, and possibility all overlap. It's easy to reduce her story to the spectacular. A skier who makes the impossible look almost casual, who turns cold air into choreography. But what Gu reflects on now, especially when she talks about Milan Cortina, isn't just medals, it's meaning. The word she returns to is dream, not in the vague, poster-like way people throw around, but in a specific, working definition. A dream is something you commit to daily, even when the crowd is gone and the cameras are pointed elsewhere. For Gu, that includes the unglamorous work, conditioning, repetition, injury prevention, mental rehearsal, but it also includes the responsibility of visibility. Visibility can be a slippery concept in action sports. Free ski is thrilling, but it's also niche compared to the giants of global sport. It lives in bursts, viral clips, Olympic moments, a dazzling run that circulates online for a week. Then it can fade from the mainstream conversation. Gu's dream of growing visibility in her sport is really a dream of continuity. That free skiing becomes something more people follow in real time, not just a 4-year surprise. That young athletes see pathways, not only to compete, but to be supported, to be recognized, to build careers without constantly explaining why their sport matters. And she understands something that many athletes learn too late. Visibility isn't just being seen. It's being seen accurately. When a sport grows, narratives form around it, sometimes shallow ones. The challenge is to make the story match the reality. Freeskiing is not just cool tricks. It's discipline disguised as freedom. It's physics and fear management. It's artistry measured in fractions of a second. Gu's presence helps translate that complexity to people who might be watching for the first time. Milan Cortina adds its own texture to those reflections. Italy, with its iconic fashion capitals and cinematic mountain towns, feels like a stage designed for both sport and storytelling. The image of snow events framed by European peaks carries a romance that's almost irresistible. But Gu's lens isn't only romantic, it's pragmatic. Big stages bring big expectations, and expectations can either crush a person or clarify them. Over the past few years, she's been living at the intersection of excellence and attention. That's a rare environment, one where every success expands the audience, and every misstep gets magnified. Many athletes respond by shrinking. Fewer words, fewer risks, fewer edges to grab onto. Gu doesn't seem to be shrinking. Instead, she's learning to separate performance from perception. She can't control how people interpret her choices, but she can control the integrity of her preparation and the honesty of her intentions. That's where her reflection becomes most human. When she speaks about the upcoming games, you can hear the balancing act. Keep the joy, keep the ambition, keep the hunger, without letting the outside noise rewrite what the sport feels like from the inside. Because for an athlete, joy isn't fluff. It's fuel. In a sport that demands creativity, joy is part of the engine. A timid athlete rarely invents anything in the air. A rigid mind doesn't improvise. You can train tricks, but you also have to protect the emotional conditions that allow those tricks to exist. Gu's dream also carries an unspoken hope that visibility can make the sport more inclusive. Action sports have often been gatekept by geography, cost, and culture. Skiing is expensive. Access to snow is unequal. Coaching and facilities can be limited. For freeskiing to grow, the pipeline can't be narrow. It needs more programs, more scholarships, more community slopes, more creative approaches.